Today's guest is a board-certified clinical pharmacist, functional medicine practitioner, talk show host, and over the past 17 years has helped hundreds of people improve their health and well-being. Today she's going to share with you new insights, ideas and information on the power of self-healing. Would you please help me welcome to the show Dr. Annie Rostomyan. Annie, good morning. Good afternoon to you.
Hello. Absolutely. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I am wonderful, thank you. I am wonderful. I know it's morning for us here and afternoon there on the west coast of America for you. And one of the problems that I see in the world right now is people are making themselves sick. And I'd like to explore this today. So, in your words, what is self-healing? How would you describe self-healing?
First of all, thank you so much for your invitation, and thanks, Danielle, for giving me the platform to actually spread my knowledge or my expertise in self-healing. I truly believe that, as healthcare practitioners, unless we go through self-healing, we can't heal others. So the way that I describe my journey is the talents and gifts that I have to improve my patients' health are so essential for them to experience. So I cannot be imposter. I cannot be shy of providing the services because that's a disservice to my patients. So everyone has different needs and different, goals in their life in terms of health. So we have to meet our patients where they are. Self-healing for one could be just healing from trauma, or self-healing for another person would be healing from a broken relationship, or another one would have just recovered from an illness, right? So understanding your patient as an individual. So that's why I practice personalized approach to every single question about my patient's health.
Now, this field of precision medicine that you specialize in, this is the first time I'm hearing of precision medicine. What is it, and how would you describe it really practically for our people?
Absolutely. So we are all individuals. Science and medicine has been evolving so fast the last decade. So now we have technology to test and identify whether we're metabolizing the medications the same way or nutrients the same way. But apparently, more than 70% of population does not metabolize the same medicine the same way, and we're all different. I always say that one size does not fit all, and our genes are unique for our own personal, the genetic blueprint. So precision medicine is basically a test that we provide for patients, which is a saliva test. We identify what is it that they're metabolizing at a faster pace, at a slower pace, or at a normal pace. So no more general approach to people. It's all personalized based on their genes, and there are medications that may harm them. We identify, and those are the things that we let the physicians know not to prescribe the medicines that may harm patient. Any kind of harm is harm, regardless if the patient doesn't suffer severe injuries, but any adverse effect that's prevented due to this testing is a benefit, and it's also a healthcare cost burden relief as well. It's not only just patient life; it also relieves healthcare burden in general for countries.
I understand in America each year there's between 40 to 80,000 deaths each year because of misdiagnosis inside the hospital system.
Correct.
Outside of the hospital system, what's the impact that we're seeing at the pharmacy level?
Absolutely, and adverse drug events are part of that, whole patient harm paradigm. Adverse drug events have caused incredible amount of patient harm. But imagine with precision medicine, if we could avoid, the harm that patients can experience from the medications that may not work for their specific genome. I can give you an example of a medication that's usually given for heart conditions. It's an antiplatelet medication that's given when patients have coronary artery bypass. It's a blood thinner, and some patients of Asian descent, specifically South Pacific Islanders, do not metabolize this medicine properly. And imagine if doctors don't know and they give this medication, which can cause recurrent heart attacks. The cost is of adverse drug events is millions and millions of dollars in United States, and we're advocating for our patients not to experience any harm that's avoidable, that's preventable.
That's fascinating. When people are sick, when people are ill and they come to you for health coaching, what's the problem that you're helping them solve through health coaching?
Different people, different clients, different patients with different needs. I recently discovered that we have to let our patients come up with what's the issue at the moment. Because if I keep giving the healthy living advice or nutritional advice, or just tell them what is the right thing to do, they won't implement those changes unless if they come up with what's the number one thing that's bothering them. A lot of my patients come to me with chronic disease, who have diabetes, obesity, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and a lot of times they feel so discouraged because they can't keep up with daily activities. They have to take medicines, every day. Their diet is not working. So a lot of mindset work. I think once we're ready in our mind to make those lifelong changes, that's when it happens. But it has to come from a patient. So I help them find those answers through health coaching.
We talk a lot about the motivation of desire and fear. And humans do talk a good talk about what they want and where they want to be, and they talk as if they have desire. But what we've learned through the fear of loss is, as a motivator, the fear of loss is 2.5 more times more powerful than desire. And we see a lot of people don't go to the doctor until it's too late, or they're too sick and they've consulted Dr. Google, they've asked for medical advice from their friend who's an Uber driver, the builders come around to repair the front door and they're asking him for medical advice, but they don't go to the doctor until they start to lose things, function and mobility. You mentioned here about mindset. What are you seeing is the impact on the mindset with these chronic illness, with this chronic disease? What are you seeing the impact is on the mindset?
I do have great success with working with my patients and making them understand that it's never too late to make those lifelong changes. A lot of people have already been so desperate because they're already ill, and a lot of times I do see that once I have diabetes, the mindset is like there's no way to reverse it. Once I have this, there's no way to go back, but they see the power of the change. Once you make them understand that there's so much you can do as a patient, you're not supposed to be the passenger in, your health journey. You have to be driving that car. Your doctor is not in charge of you every single day. Your doctor is not checking your fridge or see what you shop for food, or your doctor doesn't know if whether you sleep or what's your stress level. Patients are not they're not giving them enough credit. They're not giving themselves enough credit, because self empowerment comes from, I'm in charge of my health. I know myself the best. So I always help them navigate through that, because a lot of times it's just about stress of the burden of like medications, of the disease. They feel disempowered, they feel at a loss. So healthcare professionals not only give medical advice, but we are also there with them at the pace where they are, saying, hey, let's make one change a day or one change a week. Where are you? Like baby steps. So every patient is different, of course.
My clients often wake up and they say, I'm stuck and I don't know what to do next. So they become very problem aware. They know they've got this problem, but they're still not solution aware at this stage. They don't say, I need a business coach. I need to go to 100x DNA. I need to go to the accelerator. They're not there yet, but they're very aware of their problem. When your clients wake up and they make that decision that it's time to come and see you, what's that problem that they become aware of?
Fantastic question. I always tell them awareness creates change. Once you become more aware, that's when you're ready for the change. Unless if you're there in your mindset, you're not going to make a single step towards improving your health. I'm more holistically, driven to help patients with food as medicine, or more non-medicinal ways of approach, to contrary that I'm a pharmacist, I know everything about medications, and I should be working medications and the disease paradigm, but I always offer my patients the non-medicinal ways first, and prevention, prevention. That's what we talk about, a lot of times. As a healthcare practitioner, you'll be surprised if I tell you that I recently got certified as a breathwork instructor to teach my patients how to move from the sympathetic state, that fight or flight and stress states, to parasympathetic state, and say, hey, I can restore, I can recharge, I can re birth my own self before I went to change my foods and habits. A lot of people have unhealthy relationship with food, and it comes from either childhood or trauma. So that's where we go for, there's so much we can do by just utilizing our own power as humans. We didn't know that breath, cures. Breath helps with so many, anxious states, with so much trauma. But you know what? The times have come that we, as healthcare providers, we have to look for other approaches. And there you are, a breath work to facilitate and have the patient answer the questions. What is your trigger? When do you eat? When you snack, when do you go for unhealthy food? What happens on an emotional level? So it's very interesting.
I agree. People's relationship with food is mentally and emotionally very unhealthy, and they use it as a coping mechanism. I remember a client I was working with many years ago. She had some significant emotional events when she was growing up, and she lived in a household of domestic violence. So the father would drink, he'd beat the mother, and then he'd pass out. So the daughters would go to his wallet, steal the money out of his wallet, quickly run down to the shops, and they'd buy bags and bags of lollies. And so to self medicate, to be able to numb that pain of what they went through, they ate and ate. And they could eat, we would say, 4 litres of ice cream. In Australia, you might call it a tub of ice cream, but they would just eat, and that would make them numb of that emotional experience. And as they get older now, how they manage stress is going straight back to the bag of lollies or going straight back to the bag of sweets. But also, what we can see here with this situation is both parties had moved on. One party had moved on, but the other hadn't. So then we'd start to see one overeat to punish the other person, and they're in
Yeah.
that abusive cycle going on. So although the physical abuse stopped with the family, the emotional abuse continued with the eating. You hurt me emotionally, I'm going to hurt my body, and you're going to feel guilt. And so they'd get caught in that victim victor cycle of
Yes.
sabotage. And we can see that moving forward. With these mental and emotional challenges and impacting the health, why is it so important for people to solve this now and not wait till it gets worse?
Uh, One of my favorite questions. I had a patient, actually. This is a great example. I had a patient who was in his 60s, and he was telling me he had diabetes, very high blood sugar, and he wasn't taking care of himself, not taking his medications. He would tell me, "I will take care of my diabetes when I retire. I don't have time right now." And I told him that by the time you retire, we'll have your some of your organ systems shutting down, like your kidneys, or you may have a heart attack. These are the consequences. A lot of That's a denial, that's a coping mechanism of, I don't want to deal with it right now, I don't want to think about it. I give the power to the disease. I take the power from myself and give the power to the disease. That's very, very common in patients who do not feel empowered. They lost the faith that they could self-heal and reverse some of the detrimental effects of some diseases. There comes a holistic minded or empathetic, someone who's really focused on healing them from within, saying, you can do it, empower them. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's not going to happen in one session, just the same way as the disease did not develop in one night, right? It took years and years and years of unhealthy relationship with food or just bad lifestyle. So a lot of times I tell my patients, you have to be patient to work with me. This is a process. It took you years to have diabetes. Now it's not going to take you a week to heal from, all this, effects. So I think we need more of patient-centered healthcare professionals who are working not within the system, but outside of the system where they can spend more time with patients. Because in the United States, as you know, 15, 20 minutes of physician patient time is not even enough to address one question. So there comes my favorite topic of the US healthcare system that's not serving the patient in a better way.
It does take a long time for people to open up as well. You've got to have that rapport. You've got to create that trust. You have to have that unconditional positive regard where you can share your truth without being judged. And I think inside of 10 to 15 minutes, it's hard for anybody to be able to achieve that.
Exactly.
I think it's very difficult. Now, for those people who want to learn more about you, you've got a very comprehensive Instagram page. You got a ton of information here. I know you're a TV show host. You're doing your hypno breath work. What can we learn more from your Instagram page, and how can we connect with you from here?
Absolutely. So I'm working more towards, providing more education to my patients on precision medicine, precision nutrition, which is nutrigenomics, and also chronic disease management, approaches that are such novelty. Even like many doctors don't know how to approach their patients from a precision, personalized standpoint. The best contact would be Instagram messaging. I do also have a LinkedIn profile for professional communication, but email me on my Instagram page, and I'll be happy to answer, all the questions I can and be of help.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, do it now. There's the Instagram page right there. I'll also post the link in the show notes. Dr. Annie, it's lovely to have heard from you today. And it's nice that you're making that mind-body connection for your patients and also for our audience. We appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
Thank you as well, Danielle. Thanks for your time. And I'm honored to be here on this platform. Take care.
My pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, head over to Dr. Annie's Instagram page now. The link will be in the show notes. And if you've got a question, make sure you reach out. Remember, knock and the door will open. Ladies and gentlemen, have a lovely day, and we shall see you soon. Ciao for now.